Welcome to Beyond the Box. Inside, outside, upside, downside, beyond the box.
Break it down.
Our guests are insiders, now on the outside and the right side, dropping truth and nuclear intel bombs and breaking it down just for you. And now it's time to meet your hosts and co-host. Your hosts of Beyond the Box are Brenda Lankart and Suzanne Hott. Brenda Lankart is host of Beyond the Box and retired law enforcement. Joined by Suzanne Hott, host of Beyond the Box, Joel's Indoor Arena and Event Center, and White Horse Productions. Their co-host is Brian Singh, co-host Beyond the Box, Full Disclosure Now Movement, fulldisclosuremovement.org. This show is for entertainment purposes only. And now discover new boundaries beyond the box. Inside, outside, upside, downside. Beyond the box begins now.
Break it down.
Hello, everybody. I was doing some checking and I found out that this is our 46th show. Woohoo! Ring the bells. Today is July 5th, 2024. We are still dragging our feet in this year. That's okay.
Right.
Sooner or later. So I've had a rough week. And then I'm getting ready for the show. And my eyeliner committed suicide and rolled underneath the oven. My hair straightener did not want to work today. I sat there and said, maybe I should just turn my computer desk and do the show from my bed. So how you doing, Susie?
Oh, I don't know. Here we go. And I don't know again.
I know.
It's been a very, well, I think, across the nation, it's been a rough time for everybody, with all the storms and all the stuff going on. And I think that hurricane thing is coming through. That's pretty scary for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting me one of them parachute things that you put on you and standing outside and waiting for the wind to come and blow me to Oz.
Oh my goodness. It looks pretty rough one, So hopefully
Yeah.
everybody will be okay, All right. So yeah, but it's been a rough week for us. We I don't know, listeners, we had some, bumps in the road in our programming and our show and some of the guests and I mean I'm sure that happens to everybody, everybody that lives life has problems,
Yeah.
and but we've had, I think, more than our share this last week or two. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
More than our share,
Yes.
and so I wanted to one of the things I wanted to bring up, Brenda, because we have a guest coming on who has been a very targeted individual, and he was, he's one of the top horse trainers that I know, excellent horseman, and speaks like 6 languages, and he worked with a family that he trained under, and went overseas and did some covert operations, and I mean
Right.
some very interesting stuff, and since then, he's been a very targeted individual, and I think a lot of people will relate to that about what is targeting and how that works. And from what I've been learning about it is, you have like these people that are in on the dark side who are connected to one another, and then they find out somebody that they want to target. They call that town or that area, and they contact what they call wolves. It's kind of like the sheep amongst the wolves. As that story, it says that it used to say the or the lion shall lay down with the lamb, but now it says the wolf will dwell with the lamb in the Bible,
Yeah.
Isaiah 11:6, right? So now I've learned about this verbiage of a wolf. These wolves that live in your cities that are all they got to do is make a phone call, find out who they are, and say, I need you to go, you know, harass this person or do these things to this person or watch this person or whatever they do, whatever they're trained to do, whatever they do. And
Right.
it seems to be um you know city to city nationwide. This thing is pretty
Yes.
organized, you know.
I've been doing a lot of research on it because of Tommy, so I can understand a lot more of it. And it's deep and it's huge. And
Right.
I wouldn't even know how to get something like this under control. What would you do? But I was reading
Exactly.
some things on it, and one of the main things it says is to go on with your life. And
True.
I thought, well,
Really.
yeah, that's a good idea, but the pain that they suffer, that makes it kind of hard. I don't think there's really an expert in this field to be able to help these people other than them joining together to help each other, you know?
You know what though, Brenda? With Doug's story, Doug says that, like, okay, him being a horse trainer and he has to get jobs, and he said that the people that he goes to work for, they get targeted, or the barns that he works with, and then the other people in the industry, um, they don't give him opportunities, or they prevent him from making certain jobs or getting certain jobs or getting opportunities.
Right,
So it can be quite a problem if you're trying to make a living. And
right.
yeah, and then these
Yep.
people get involved, and they blackball your name, or they you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So yeah, it can be uh, pretty tough on some people that are trying to make a living, you know what I mean, or
yeah,
trying to, yeah, live their life. It's maybe not that easy for some of them.
right.
They have families, and then so there's a lot involved. And with Doug's story, his people that he kind of was like family to, whatever. Um, I don't think they were a bad family as far as his story, but it took him into that world, and as a result of that, now he's having to, um, try to make a living, and it's been very difficult for him.
Right.
And
Yeah.
one of the things that came to my mind was that scripture where it says, that where Jesus said, even those of your own household or your family will be your worst enemies. So it
Yes.
can even be family members. Um, it doesn't necessarily have to be strangers or other people. It's people that you might trust, or you think you should trust. Your friends, family, those kind of people that turn out to be the ones who that you find out. Like that saying, you know, with friends like that, who needs enemies, right?
Right.
Right. That saying. And one of the things I wanted to share was, I think this is like a good rule of thumb or good wisdom. And I study a lot of that Norse stuff, and I wanted to talk about just a little thing, a little story that I read in the Norse mythology was a saying that said, "It will be a boot that saves the world." Right?
Right.
And I thought, well, how? And I worked at a boot store for 17 years in Austin for Buck Steiner at Capital Salary. And I thought, how funny, it's like a boot will save the world. How is that even an old Norse, you know, phrase, right? What does that mean? So in that story, Loki had three monstrous children, that were prophesied to bring destruction to the whole world, and one of them was a wolf called Fenrir. Okay, and so Fenrir got so big, just like a giant. Okay, he grew into this giant wolf. Here we go with the wolf again, right?
Right.
And this wolf was so treacherous, it bit off one of the sons of Odin's hand. Like, right? I mean, it was, and this thing got bigger and bigger and bigger, and so the prophecy was that the battle when they fight the Titans and the giants, and that this wolf Odin saw in his vision, that it would be the last thing that he sees is the jaws of this dog clamping down on him. And so the story goes um, that Odin was the meaning of Odin's name was he was known as the god of wisdom. He was wisdom, right? And so his one of his sons was a son named Vidar, and Vidar's trait was known as calmness. And so the wolf Fenrir represented the dark side, which is the dark of rage. Like, when people get raging angry and they
Right.
explode, and it's a very dangerous, people can become very dangerous when they become
Right.
angry, and they hold anger inside. And my own mother found out about her birth mother wasn't her real mother. And then at 30, she began to fester this anger and this rage within her toward my grandfather, and she carried it to her grave, and it ate her alive. It was a bitterness that just she never got rid
Right.
of.
Yes.
And so rage and anger is never justified or right or anything. Okay, this is so the story goes um that uh that Odin tried to fight the wolf, and the wolf killed him. And so his son Vidar got all the shoe boot leather of all the boots and put it into the wolf's mouth, because it was so tough, boot leather, right? That the dog couldn't bite through it, so that he could break its jaw. And so it wasn't just wisdom that will save you, but it's a combination of wisdom and calmness that was the only thing that can defeat rage or anger.
Right.
So it's a combination, and that's what the Norse story also represents. It. Wisdom and calmness is how you defeat rage or anger, how you overcome it, so that you don't allow it a foothold in your life. So um, that's how a boot will save the world. Okay, the boot
We need
leather
a
will save the
boot.
world.
We need a
Right.
boot.
We need some good boots, right?
Right.
And not for walking all over you, right? That song. These boots are made for walking. That's
Yeah.
not. That would be more like rage or anger. So, this is
Right.
how you handle stressful, tough times in your life. You just use wisdom and calmness to get navigate through things, and you don't allow rage or anger to rule or over you or lead or have do these things.
Yes.
So, but with that, I wanted to
Absolutely.
say that the good news is for us, we did find out the IP address of who hacked into our account and deleted our account, and so, but we won't hold any bitter or anger or rage. We will just stay calm, and you know and give it to
Yes.
God. And even though that person stole money from the account and deleted us, you
Yeah,
know,
I had to
we're good with it.
I had to pay again. I had to pay again after I still had
Right.
6 months left on the student pay. That's all right. You know what? It's okay. It's
At the end of the day, Brenda, the calmness outweighs the anger in life, right? I mean, just
yes.
you can face anything, I think, if you face it with the right attitude, right?
Oh yeah. You know, I don't know. Some things are kind of for the best, I guess. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all, we all have to learn. We go through trials and tribulations in our life, but, you know, it builds character.
Hey, look.
Builds character.
I love our Father all high, but I did him a square. I did him a big favor. I let him throw me under the bus for Susie, and that's okay. So, yep. It's all right. It'll
Right.
be made up.
Hey, it's all a learning curve, in life.
Yes,
It's those things
yes.
that we can grow and learn from things that happen to us, and
Oh, yeah.
you know, and we can become better people from it.
And I want everybody to know that we're going to have actually next weekend we have Dennis Carroll. I know that a few of you know who he is. He will be on next Saturday night. And look at here, we got Doug.
Hey,
Hello.
Doug.
Took
And
me a little.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
I'm
gonna
so
be
glad
it's
you're
gonna
here.
be pretty neat. Yeah. Hi, Doug. Thank you for coming in for the last minute. Our other guest had to cancel. So we have a bunch of people that are going to a Disclosure Now conference in Florida. So right now it's really hard with, people. So we're just gonna go through it and smile on our face, and we thank you for coming in last minute.
And
Oh,
Denise said
thank you,
hi,
ma'am.
Doug, one of our watchers.
Denise said hi. Yes.
Oh, say hi then. Oh, hi, Denise. I
Did
see
you
Yes.
hear
that. I
my
can't
intro,
really.
Doug? Did you get to hear my intro, Doug?
No, I did
Okay,
not.
I'll refresh you real quick. I don't want to. I talked about um, how in the Bible it says that sometimes your family and friends turn out to be your worst enemies, and I said that you're a top horse trainer, and you worked with a trainer, and you went overseas, and you did some covert things, and but the family wasn't necessarily bad, but as a result of that, um, you have been a targeted individual, and with that targeting, it has made it hard for you to get jobs. And I talked about how wolves are these people that live in cities that they just make a phone call. These people make phone calls, and then, like the sheep, the wolf amongst the sheep in the Bible, it says, and these wolves, and they will come and they will cause you not to get jobs here, and so you have these individuals that are literally targeting your life, so it makes it hard to make a living. And so I know that's been happening to you, Doug, and so I'll just leave it at that,
Yeah,
and you can tell us your story a little bit if you would.
well, yeah, that part of it's been pretty brutal. If we can touch on that point, like Lindsay Cogswell, whose husband's best friends is Obama's think tank. That's how black ops work, right? And it's the tip of the needle above the CIA. So she would tell someone they're not happy, and then they would all start chanting it. And next thing you know, their people would surround them and just destroy them. So when they're part of that network, they can just put messages up on their Facebook wall, and everyone that's part of their twisted mindset is going to go along with them.
Kind of
But
like
that's Enter Ultra. So that was trying
right.
to extrapolate on what you said and what I saw that agrees with it.
Wow. So they were using the internet, they're using different methods to communicate, is what you're saying too, right? Like
Right,
Facebook
to get
and
their message out, like, oh, he's on the blacklist now. And that's what it is. It's a blacklist.
yeah, a blacklist.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow.
that's what you would call it, the blacklist. And it's
Right?
not
So
just horses. I mean, it's anything they want to take over. You
Yeah,
got a fancy
anybody.
coffee shop, they run you out of business and put that person on the blacklist so their sheriff's family can own the coffee shop or
Because
whatever.
there's different members, true, right, that belong to these organizations that target people. And so anybody in that organization, maybe that comes across you or something, and then it makes it hard for you, whenever,
Have they
they,
gone to like some of your friends or somewhere you worked and had those people turn against you also?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they it was pretty hardcore when I left the last place. They had their stall cleaning helper trainers that didn't know anything, but they all MK Ultra. They're all pretending to be trainers. Um, Run through the town where I was, go to different barns, say I stole horses, I did this, I did that. Oh my God, he did all this crazy crap that anyone that knows me is just a bunch of bullshit. And when you look at the source, I mean, these people are slime balls, just bottom of the barrel horse flippers.
Yeah.
But it's how they compete, like Tanya Harding.
Yeah.
And as long as they could advertise and promote me, so the people with money got to them and their friends, everything was okay.
Yeah, we have one of our
We'll try
co-hosts
to open.
who's a
Are you guys
targeted
hearing me
individual.
okay?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so with me, they surrounded my family in '99 when I first went through the MK program for the head of Special Warfare Navy. That's Steve Alberg. He's head of all Navy SEALs for Bill Clinton. The swastika base in San Diego? The one that you couldn't see from the air, and once you saw it, it's a swastika base, the Nazi, when brought the
Yes.
Nazis, Operation Paperclip. He
Yeah.
ran that base. So that's when I started the MK, they did their MK Ultra thing on me, and they directly surrounded my whole family. My brother-in-law's dad was Secret Service from Hawaii. Of course, no one knew it at the time. And they just surround your family if they're going to put you in the middle of that high-level top secret stuff. Is that we're
Right.
going back to '99, and this the prelude to how they were setting up 9/11 and getting their official story together and all of that.
Right.
They start putting those pieces in play beforehand.
Oh yeah, they know the playbook roles way before we do. So yeah.
Yeah, that's why. But I'm fast forwarding. That's why I came back from Europe talking about rigged elections, using the healthcare to kill us, releasing diseases, bringing their armies in. But that's a decade down the line from where I just was.
Yeah. Now, when you say, were you in any of the MK Ultra programs yourself?
That's what they did, was they hypnotized me to before my birth self. And I had a way of training horses that was totally unusual, all bridled up, collected round, loose rein, head down, 20 years before what everyone's doing now, because that's my program, all wrapped around the inside leg. And so they asked me to make it where the head's way down and you could take one look and see who was selling my program, like to infiltrate secret societies and stuff, but that's not the way it went. I'm going in the original hypnosis session. So I pretty much went through what you would call the men that stare at goats thing. With me, they
Right.
found out, I grew up with the masters from an early age. I was like a prodigy, winning the biggest horse shows on the planet when I was 19, 20 years old, getting standing ovations in the open reining, training horses in the Book of Legends. My horse won the Arab Nationals for 10 years straight. And they found out that they hypnotized you, and they found out I rode horses for God using the Bible and the words of Jesus. And so next thing you know, they surrounded me, put me out of business, and boom, I was in Israel on the Sea of Galilee. God took me to Israel. Well, it wasn't God, and those are the pictures I think you've seen of me standing on a pillar in the synagogue of Jesus. I mean, that's some pretty intense stuff. They closed down the holiest place on the planet for me to pray. They put some big mojo in this.
Wow.
Am I still got you, or am I?
Yeah, you got us. Susie, we got you.
Yeah. I mean, that's,
And
what,
you can
Doug?
go to that place. Mhm.
Yeah. I was going to say, Doug, one of the things that happened to me in sixth grade was they came to my school. They tested me for hand and eye coordination. It was called Pegasus testing, and then they came
Okay.
back and said to me that I tested higher than anybody in the state of Ohio, and they told me that I would probably that I would excel as a horse trainer. Like they knew that in sixth grade that that's what I would do. So it's interesting that your achievements at that young age with your horse training, and then all of a sudden they were using that your ability to train horses, and then of course tell us a little bit about your speaking all the languages and how much of an asset you become to them.
Right. So my original training was on the Sea of Israel by Israeli Mossad and Special Forces. That's the girl in some of those pictures, Tal Shani. Um, and then I ended up coming home. They took my way of training, started marketing it with Clinton Anderson, Andrea Papani, and Pat Pirelli originally. Um, and then they shoved me into put me out of business. This is a common theme. And the only solution that would come up would show up on my computer. I've got all this stress, and here's this nice solution. Here's a job for you in German, looking for a reining trainer. And so I go, and that was the people that were setting up 9/11. I think it was on 8/11, 1 month before, and my passport into Israel was on 9/11/99. So it's just kind of funny that they were advertising me on August 11th, 2001. Interesting date.
Wow.
Sorry, got a fly friend.
Yeah. It's interesting that you spoke German, and that you had this talent and ability, and
Right.
then you
So
speak
Hebrew,
Hebrew.
and my German was good, and they didn't know I could speak a word of it. It was pretty basic when I got there. Um, I've been studying it, and I learned to do monkey German, which means you find the words that sound the same, and then you just hook the things to them. Like Ronald Reagan means to reign. Reagan House. Just
Right.
easy way to snag the words. And then French, but I didn't get to practice it much because it was with people from Netherlands, and yeah, Spanish. I lived in Spain, but they were all from Austria. Slovakian. But I didn't get very many words there. I wasn't very interested in staying, but anyways.
So what languages
But
do you speak, Doug, all together? Which ones do you speak?
I can. German wouldn't take, well, English. German wouldn't take me that long to get pretty fluent again with 3 different dialects. Spanish, French, little medium French if I practice. Hebrew, had probably about 500 words at one time. And Slovakian, I had about 100 words I could juggle together. And
Wow.
horses got their own language.
Wow. So, Doug, okay, so also when you were in Israel, right? Did you say that the Black Ops were meeting at the horse stables for some of these
Well, this is when they
meetings?
were originally setting up the horse gig in the Black Ops community. The way they launder art money, they're using horses now to do that. So
Right, horse
there I was
racing money.
training for the mounted police. What's that?
In the horse racing industry, the cartel have, they came in and they would buy and sell these horses, high dollar horses, and put them in the races, and they were laundering money. And there was a big bust in Bastrop, Texas, with the veterinarian. They're the top vet in the country, David Graham's grandson. He was they were boarding horses at the Southwest Stallion Station, and they were purchasing these very expensive horses. They were spending lots of money. They were into horse racing, and so the FBI came in there. It's a big deal. There's a lot of articles on it, and they were laundering the money through the banks there in Bastrop, and the cartels were with the horse racing. So they were able to hide a lot of money and within the horse racing and other businesses, but it is a good way to cover and hide and launder money through the horse racing industry.
Right. Yeah, at Babcock's, one of the smart chicks I trained, I think it was the highest placing horse out of Babcock Ranch. Smart Chick Alina is, you know, Jim Babcock, right?
Well, I have a lot of
Smart
the Smart
Littlina,
Chickalina
Smart
horses.
Littlina.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
So I had a whole string of them, and the highest placing horse, Smart Chick at that show is one I trained. I can't remember his name. I've trained so many. 2004 National Reining Futurity. And it sold to a guy in Brazil way before this for a huge amount of money, but they didn't pay no $150,000 for that horse. They paid about $30,000 for the horse, and another $120,000 product was switched, right?
Right.
So they get the horse, someone gets the coke, they have their Mexicans work for them, sell the coke, and then they insure the horse, they kill the horse. So they end up with $300,000 in product, another $150,000 on the insurance deal of the horse. You know, they make money coming and going with it.
It's like they say, art and horses and things like that. Art, you know, that you could sell a piece of artwork for $1 million and not really be $1 million worth. But they can't put a value on it that makes sense. So horses can be $1 million, and it really only sells for 100,000, and then they can launder the rest of that money in that sale and make it look like that's what the value of that painting was or that horse was. You know.
Like, have you ever heard of Indian pony?
Indian pony?
Right. So this one barn, they've got this magic Indian pony, one of the only in the country, and it's just a pony stud. You know, that they call an Indian pony, but it's got its own registry. It's $100,000. Bullshit! Someone would give you $100,000 for $1,000 pony. You know what I mean? Just.
It's who owns it, right, Doug? And who's it going to, right, Doug? It's who
right.
You know.
Well, right. What they did on trafficking me is, so when vipers owned me, it's the only way to put it. They'd own you, they'd surround you, they'd make sure you're penniless, they'd run anyone away that tried to get to you. That was Special Warfare Navy Steve Alburn's group. Then Marilee Nielsen shows up and buys this horse for $12,000 that was worth about 3 or 4, and she bought me for her best friend, and that was that Kyle Kilmore, and you'll know Jordan Larson's team, Andrea Papani's people. And it's some pretty big names nowadays, but that's my program.
Right, and a lot of the names probably people don't know, but you know, I worked in a saddle shop for 17 years, and I sold all the Pat Pirelli videos and all these, you know, these trainers that were using your method of training, and they were making a lot of money, and they were huge in the horse industry. People who had horses would come in and buy these videos and take them home and watch the training methods, you know, and the stuff that you were teaching these horses.
Right, it revolutionized horsemanship. The one rein stop, getting them soft to the side, then the face, then the shoulder, the ribs, the hips, different hand, weight, leg positions. I had a one-of-a-kind program. Everyone rides it today. It's totally different. It's not left leg and they look right, go right. You'll go to the right, and you'll shape them with that leg and just start pretend like you're loping, and they'll lope with you. That makes sense? Holding their body in an arm.
And Doug, you still train horses every day today, don't you?
I'm doing the best I can with what I got, but you know, they definitely set me up and kept me out of the show pen, made a big game of it.
So they have pretty much put a lot of interference and blockage where you can't get in there and you can't show, you can't do a lot of things because certain people that are higher up, have
they take over the entire industry, huh?
Right. Well, there's a lot of money in the horses today.
Where there's money,
yeah. Look at the thoroughbred industry. Look at the cutting horse industry. Look at these horses are
run for $1 million, $1 million, one horse show.
Yeah. You know.
Isn't that kind of like what they're doing when they like launder the money that they send different places. Like, well, we're sending this country $45 million. And in all actuality, those people are only getting 5 million, and then the rest of it gets split up and divided between whoever, you know?
It's how you take dirty money and make it
Different
clean money,
methods.
Brenda, by
Yeah.
making it look like it was a horse sale. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Right.
So
They bought a horse for $5,000 and put their magic horse trainer that can't ride on it, and he rode Pat Pirelli's program, and it is $150,000 3 months later. Just got laundered.
do you want to
We'll give them.
can you tell us a little bit of some of the things that you've been going through? I mean, like out in public, I mean, is there just weird stuff happening to you when you're out? Huh?
They've kept me isolated, so I haven't hardly been able to get into public.
Oh, wow.
So people haven't been able to really meet me in the horse industry for themselves. If they showed up at the other barn, the people would show up, make comments. Oh, he's a stall cleaner, and if someone had money, but my dad's the trainer, and this cocky bastard would walk out and try to take them for a bunch of money. But if it was like just some backyard break, oh, you can give that person a lesson. Oh, here's your little bone. Why they were trashing me, or this time using me to advertise and set their friends up again with anyone that had the money. They used the horses to target people that got money, successful businesses, beautiful wives, beautiful children. I mean, these are pretty messed up people, and the ones struggling and trying their hardest, like to do something, they'll get them at their place, take away their money, trash them to everyone, end up with free barn help, free stall cleaners. Oh, you better fix those fences or else. Oh, don't hire that guy, he's lazy. They'll tell everyone about this one guy that he was lazy and what was the other story? That he was lazy and he was a dark place in his mind. This was the nicest guy you ever saw. He wasn't he was a U.S. Marine that would call these people, that's my mom, that's my dad. MK Ultra. They were there to help you while they destroyed you and isolated you. With me, they put me on this puke of a Western pleasure horse, had Joe Jones trim it so it was so sore it couldn't move. I looked down finally at the feet, they're sideways. Right, and then they advertised this a horse trained by Doug Phipps for the reigning cow horse, and he's a no good son of a gun that would attack you and try to kill you if you went in the stall. Or,
Jesus.
I mean, these just energy. They're either going to run me away from my kid, or if I open my mouth, they're going to run me away from my kid harder. And if I keep opening my mouth, though, probably cut the wheel on my car again, or who knows, maybe like my ex when she got drugged, thrown by the side of the road and raped and thrown with her pants off by the side of the road. I mean, these are bad people. And they're running the horse community behind the scenes.
How do you deal with all this that's going on?
What's that?
I said, how do you deal with all of this stuff that's going on? I mean,
they were trying to incite me for violence. Huh?
Yeah, in everyday life. I mean, how are you dealing with that?
Just go ride the horse I got and pray. And I finally just had my schnauze full, they say in German, a nose full. And I just told everyone here, and they, all of a sudden I'm 86. I said, hey, I train horses for the CIA overseas. You guys have been learning my methods from these people. My name is Doug. I'm more than happy to help you. This is bullshit what these people did, and I've just had enough. And I started a Facebook page, Idaho Horse Community, The Ugly Truth, and they got upset, They got upset that I'm telling, because if people found out, they'd have to be arrested. The police would be forced to arrest these people from conspiracy to murder, human trafficking, crimes against children. I mean, this is ugly stuff, and these are our cops or sheriffs or judges, especially federal defenders, federal prosecutors, county prosecutors, defenders. and an element of our military that's just batshit crazy and have committed total treason because they want to be the stars of the horse world, and them and their family making money. All that's all that matters. You know, they just surround people like a movie. Oh, we're here to help you, and promise them everything. And I mean, you know, maybe take that dink they got for $1,000 and try to get 7,000 for them after he bucked their trainer up 20 minutes before with a beginner family, and all of a sudden he's just so calm and easy. Drugs anyone, right?
Wow.
Doug,
Are you still there? Or did I
it's
lose
really,
you?
We got
you know,
you.
it's like what, you know what, it's crazy because, you know, it's like an elite group, and if you're not part of that group, then you're not. It's just like, you know, in Hollywood or anything, they're very well off, and certain people, uh, there's a lot of money available if you're on the dark side, but you know, you're going to starve to death if you're a good person. Basically, you know, they're going to like
There,
Yeah.
starve you out. Yeah.
it reminds me
They,
what a good
they don't
man
want me
said
at the
once.
shows because
There was a good man that
but
said it's a really big club and we ain't in it. So yeah, that would be
well,
Mr. George Carlin.
they don't want me at the shows because I'm not going to let them target a family. I'll be like, hey, bullshit, these people are brainwashing you. Don't buy that horse for 30,000. Are you crazy? Oh, get these perverts away from your little girls. They couldn't stand it. You know, I was offered a Netflix deal at Dean Al Jadawi's from Obama, even after I was framed by Obama, and I told him to kiss my ass, and that is Trevor Dare's father-in-law. You can write it down or say this. Trevor Dare, the reining trainer's father-in-law, is U.S. Naval Intelligence. He gets to ride my program and make a lot of money. You know, if I didn't
Yeah.
take the book deal from Obama, then I'm just trash and dirt and flash. You know, they're
Now,
trying to erase me.
Doug,
And
Norma
a
I
lot
have
of
a
wants
this
to
too, I
question.
know.
think, yep.
Okay, my question is, for our listeners and stuff and everybody, could you kind of explain? You were trained under a pretty good trainer, and with that training, you were taken overseas to work in some of these black ops operations. Can you kind of take us through that story a little bit and explain that to people so they'll
Okay,
understand?
so first time I got on a horse, I it took off running, kind of crow hopping. I fell off, broke my elbow, or my elbow. Second time, the horse flipped over, knocked itself out. The third time, I was scared as heck. They said, Dougie, just take both reins and pull its head around both hands on one rein, pull its head around. It can't buck. Well, that's where the real doubling them around program came from. After that, I grew up with the masters. You probably know the names. I was Richard Schrake's that kid, Tony Garcia, that taught Steve Metcalf, Carol Metcalf, the instructor at Spanish Riding School, Vienna, Austria, Tony Garcia, the horseman. Pat Mock, who trained a lot of world national champion Arabian Park horses, including horses in the Book of Legends like Gadons. Don Omer, who is the winningest ranked cow horse guy pretty much in California history for some things. I mean, he held world records and multiple world champions, was the most winning Arabian reining trainer that ever lived. They set him up with a young underage girl and got rid of him. Bob
Oh,
Avila, Craig Johnson, on and on. And I put all those programs into my own by the time I was like 18, 19 years old. And I was shaping them around that cow leg. I called it the cow leg. So that's like your cows to the right of you. I'm using that right leg to shape them and hold that shoulder up and keep them shaped around it, right? If we're circling a cow, moving them out away from the cow with that inside leg is going to be your big circle. Lean in neck, rein your small slow, right? Chasing the cow, hands here, outside leg. If they're on the right lead like this, the cow's over here. So the whole program came from me wanting to win the Reno Snaffle Bit cow horse from an early age. The bottom fell out of the cow horse industry when I was about 19, 20, and everyone brought me Arabian reining horses. So that's where I went, where I was making a living.
Now, Doug, Norma wants to know how did Norma would like to
What's
know
that?
Norma would like to know how did you know that you were under a mind control and was it voluntary?
Well, so at first in a hypnosis session, I took about 3 or 4 from Canna Clum, Columbia Basin Fish and Wildlife. We're talking tribal black ops years before you heard of Operation Geronimo, the hunt for Bin Laden, which was tribal black ops also, and that's where a lot of this stuff's ran through too. The tribes. Um, and they asked me to do it, and it was basically the whole Q-op. I was supposed to go overseas, do um, war on terror, this and that, and would I be the one to defend people, yada yada yada. And so, yeah, at first they asked me, and I was like, well, my dad will be so proud of me, so hell yeah. But then once I was in the middle of it, and by the time I was in Slovakia 10 years later, learning from the KGB that it's supposed to be a secret gig, right? It's supposed to be top of the needle secret. And the KGB's telling me, Doug, they're just a bunch of gay prostitutes selling your methods on TV. They don't care about this. They care about their money at home, Doug. And they're telling me all the stuff that I came home warning about. If they do this to you, Doug, what are they going to do to us? I mean, it was pretty disappointing. So I came home and they were right. They were the ones that told me the truth. That's pretty sick or pretty sad statement, but we haven't got that far to where I was in Slovakia during the Georgian War. So
Right.
we're still with my horse training and I think 99. So we haven't even tipped open the bottle on 9/11. Right.
So how when was the last time that you went over there and did this stuff for them? How long
Oh, well, about 12 years ago, because that's when my little girl, she's 11. So a year before that, when the mom got pregnant, they were asking me to go over to Costa Rica. They wanted me to go to Costa Rica. Remember during the big cartel wars?
Right.
So a guy from Costa Rica was going to buy a pickup and a 6-horse trailer, and I was supposed to get 10 yearlings, drive them down there, train them up, and sell them, and I was going to be set up in Costa Rica. So, and paint an American flag on it. But the Austrian diplomat actually told me, Doug, if you go to South America, they're going to kill you. And so I was like, I'm not going. Sorry. And that's when they told me, the people that got the restraining order on me to keep me from working, lots happened since we talked, told me they decided to erase me. And that went straight to Barack Obama's appointee to the head of the United States Air Force and the Freemasons. But we haven't talked about secret societies yet either. But okay, go ahead.
Those Masons are a pain in the behind. Susie, did you have a question?
No, I'm well, one of the things that when you were talking back before you just told that story, what I was thinking about was when you first had all your training methods and they could utilize you in the horse industry and you went over there, what was one of some of your experiences that you started being a part of in the stables with some of these, big leaders? What was that about?
What? Okay, I didn't quite. You were cutting out a little bit. You mean like when I trained how to get in with the royal families of Europe and stuff?
What was some of the meetings that you attended in some of these big stables that you were being brought to out in the other countries?
Oh, well, say there's a tourist horse ride place, right? In those places, it was just different intelligence apparatus. The hunt for Osama bin Laden, for the rest of you, was based in horse show stables. When the world's most dangerous terrorist would come to kill a guy like me, the special forces would snag him up, put him in a stall that had been served, and waterboard him. It's completely, I think mostly completely, it's for public knowledge. You can Google it. So at a lot of the places, at the big bases and or horse arena, holiday little arena base or whatever, there'd be like, just say Guardia Civil, French intelligence, Austrian intelligence, German intelligence, Vatican intelligence, and maybe from Poland and different countries, Romanian stuff, all there. And then we would sit around and talk about like coming up with intelligence operations, which
And
mine
what
was
was
to
that
embed my
like?
one of a
Yeah.
kind.
So what
Yeah,
do
that's
you
where I sorry.
okay, yeah, tell us a little bit about that, Doug.
Well, that's where I came up with the online intel op in the hunt for Osama bin Laden, which later was used to take down Iran's nuclear program. Because my boss was an expert at making one of a kind Trojan viruses. And a one of a kind Trojan virus, somebody can't, they won't scan for it. My other contact or buddy at the time, they killed him. Is the Tony that did he invented the software for the dialer. You know, remember the original internet dial-up software? That
Yeah.
Tony's the one that invented that. Um, so I'm like, hey, let's just make a super sophisticated virus and put my stuff online and the recordings and stuff, and then I'll go travel through Europe doing horse training clinics, and it'll light up the internet with where enemies were. So that's one of the intel ops I came up with that got a green light and a go.
So you gave a lot of ideas that you came up with of how to, you know, do this, right? Is that what you're saying?
Right. How to do the online ops or coming up with different operations.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you
So
were
so
kind of
one
like a
guy.
spy who you were like the spy who was out in the horse world spying out different people. Is that what it was, or where people were, or what was your actual what were you actually
Well,
doing?
I was training because they kept taking my methods, sending them to USA, but mostly I was bait. So remember after 9/11, everyone hated the Americans and the cowboy and Bush, and I was the American cowboy where everyone was scared to go. People were scared to go to Germany after 9/11. I'd be the cowboy in the belt and the buckle and the spurs, cowboy hat on, walking down the streets where all the hookers were and all the Muslims were.
So you were accepted
Being
because you
honest.
were a cowboy. They didn't see you as military. They just saw you as a trainer, a cowboy.
Oh,
You know.
yeah. So, sorry. No, that's a great
Okay.
point. So, the first thing they did was put me through a tax computer. And that was in the months before 9/11 at Clearwater Ranch in Germany. Clearwater Ranch in Germany, which is a big natural horsemanship ranch now, by the way. It's kind of funny. But, yeah.
So what are some of the things that you witnessed that, take place that, is memorable or, with what you did with the organization that you work for?
Well, the first time in the field after Israel was Germany in the months before 9/11, where my passport was sliced open. I was asked to work for Osama bin Laden. It was the Hamburg cell and the Nazi terror bus Belgium, Nazi 9/11 connection. This stuff at the time I got credit for in the intelligence agency. You know, the online hunt, the in bed with Trojans that took down Iran's nukes, that was kind of legend, you could say. I'm not the guy that got credit for it. Other people in Department of Defense, or military guys would take credit for it because I wasn't in the military, right? Or John Brennan, CIA, or whatever. But there were a
Right.
lot of
You're
people
the
looking for the bad guys.
the most unobvious cowboy, horse trainer, so they're not suspecting that you're, one of them, right?
Right. So they put me through a tax computer, sorry, and to check and see if me or my family was in the military. And we weren't. My dad had been in the Navy, but that was like 30 years before. And the first thing they do is ran me through a Department of Defense computer to check and see if I had a brother or a cousin or someone that was, in the military in the last 10, 20 years. And I hadn't.
Now that
My
because
dad was in the
they're
Korean War. That
investigating
was a while
you,
ago.
right? You're saying that the other countries were
Right off the
investigating
get
you,
go.
making sure you're not one of them and you're just a regular guy over there. But you weren't just a regular guy, is what you're saying.
Right. That was about I'm sorry, I got a brain fart. I looked at a text message and I should know. No, so Andy had sliced open my passport and told me what a dangerous guy he was and stuff. So with me, I'd been trained in Israel, so I was like, my friends are for Israel Special Forces, and they'd be really happy to know this. I was the mentality of an Israeli spy is pretty hardcore, and it's pretty intense stuff. So I went from that intensity into the intense stuff with 9/11 and gathered a lot of the intelligence just firsthand. And that was at Clearwater Ranch.
Okay.
Did that answer your question, or did I?
Yeah.
Did my brain fart steer me wrong?
Doug, we got a few minutes before we take a break for 5
We take a
minutes.
5-minute, yeah.
Yeah. And so we got about 3 minutes left. And so when we come back, we'll go ahead and we'll find out exactly the depths of some of this stuff, because it just seems like everybody that has anything to do with the government, it doesn't ever turn out good. And I don't, it's sad. It's sad. I hear people say about how corrupt other countries are, and I'm sorry, I think we're the worst ones.
Well, we are, because we definitely versus all the other countries. They were like, hands off, he's an American. Of course, that George Bush's protection at the time. But here, they know the cops and sheriffs aren't going to do anything. We've got a dual society. Those that the cop, sheriff, and the people, the deep state, they protect. And then those that they're going to get them, they're going to eat them, they're going to chew them up, spit them out, do what they want with them and their kids, and their lives mean nothing. That's everybody else. But that's the Fourth Reich subject. If we can get to that, from going from 9/11 to those two breakaway civilizations we got, one that has all the luck and one that has the crappy luck.
Yeah.
That's Skull and Bones. Lucky B Ranch. She was a lucky bitch. Sarah Reeves, her head fundraiser for Skull and Bones.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Her attachment with Dick Cheney's best friend. What?
I think that, us as a society and as Americans, I think we're on the low end of that caption. We have the worst luck. It's pretty bad.
You have quite a story, Doug.
The World War, the Nazi 9/11 connection was a generation war. They were the World War II descendants from the World War II Nazis, and they were going to see American dead in prison camps or erased from the planet while their grandparents were alive to see it. That's straight again to 9/11. Andy Snyder, who is best friends of Andrea Papani. Just saying it.
Yes, Norma, we are not us. I don't think the American people are bullies. It's our government. Because, I'm moving to Russia.
Well,
I just keep saying
Norma
that. I'm
needs
just going to move to Russia.
The Navy connection goes, oh, I see Norma's thing. The Navy connection is suspect to me, why they took him in. So the Navy thing was, my dad was U.S. Navy. We're talking 99 in my hypnosis session. I named Q and Anonymous, two different subjects there.
You know what? We are going to take our break. Hey, Doug, hold that thought.
We have a 5-minute break,
one
Doug.
name, Steve Alberg, head of Navy SEALs.
Okay.
Okay.
But we will talk about, all that.
After
that
our
stuff
commercial
there,
break.
the Q, the Anonymous, the stuff like that after our commercial break. So we are, I have to find the thing again. Look at me. I didn't even have it up and ready.
Get you something to drink or run to the bathroom, Doug, and we'll be back on in 5 minutes.
Yes, we will, everybody. We will be back in 5.
Thank you.
We'll be back in 5. Everybody hang out. I have to say this. Okay. My little dog Putin is the best dog in the whole world, Norma. I spent 2 days in bed in pain having stones, and my little dog didn't know what to do. So he climbed up on the pillows and he laid across my head and whined for me. He's so sweet. All right, I'm gonna bring Doug back. Wait, oh hey, you know what? Look at here. We got the Dr. Gonzo Bing Bong with us.
Hey, Tommy.
There.
Hey, everybody.
All right, let me bring Doug back in here. I don't know, something happened. He got stuck back here. There you are, Doug. Doug, this is Tommy, one of our other co-hosts. He's also a targeted individual.
Hello. How you doing, Doug? I think your mic's off.
So, what was it, Susie, that you wanted to talk about first?
Well, you know what? Since we got Tommy in here,
I mean, we're
Tommy
already
and
in
Doug-
trouble. We might as well just finish the game.
Yeah, they have so much knowledge in this, and Tommy, you know firsthand what targeting is. So, if you would, would you throw a question over there at Doug or a comment?
A comment or a breakdown of it? I'm not sure. I'm a little.
Oh, did you just come in? Okay, well, Doug was used in a lot of operations, and now he's been a very targeted individual in his community and can't get jobs, and they're just, and so we were telling him how you also, if you don't know who Tommy Edwards is, Tommy, tell him who you are and a little bit about your story.
I am a targeted individual, but that's not my main definition. That's just something that's happening. Trying to not let it define me, but it's hard not to. I'm a former All-American running back. Set a bunch of records in high school and college. Played football at Virginia Tech. Led the nation in scoring for about 6 weeks of my freshman year, starting in game 2. My freshman scoring record was tied by Michael Vick, and then I became a professional skateboarder. Started a skateboard company. Done a bunch of different stuff. Musician, toured with the drummer from Leonard Skinner and a bunch of Southern rockers all over the country, and members of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and started a nonprofit organization that I ran for like 8 years following the shootings at Virginia Tech to raise awareness for mental health as a way to prevent school shootings. And then when I got targeted, they tried to create a narrative that I was a potential school shooter and had me swatted and tried to have me killed when I brought a bunch of stuff to light in retaliation. And since then, it's been the full-on, cyber torture and gang stalking and the attrition, as the Germans would say, to chip away at your support network, your system, family, relationships, even your own, self-esteem, belief in yourself, confidence, your health, and it's awful. And there's the whole like trafficking of our neurological data. That's part of it too, and how that aspect of us is bought and sold on the dark web, like just trafficked. Part of like hyper game theory and all kinds of, we're just guinea pigs and the forerunner of what everybody is going to face in the near future with AI and like the open air prison that is the 5G HARP array, the body area network as we become the nodes of the internet. It's pretty much. So, what kind of operations were you used in, sir?
Tell Tommy
Doug,
about your
Doug,
operations.
he'd like to
Doug.
know a little bit. Just go ahead and refresh him a little bit about your story, Doug.
I'm sorry, I had a nephew died last night in his sleep, so.
We can't hear you, Doug.
Doug, we can't
Silence.
hear you.
You got to turn your mic on.
Uh-oh.
Can't hear you.
He might have to go out and come back in.
Oh, yeah. Still
Yeah.
can't hear you.
Doug, go out and then come back in.
You might have to sign out and sign in. There's no volume.
Yeah, just yeah. Exit the software and then just log back in. Hey,
Maybe
did the
sign back
beginning.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll freeze or this
Yeah,
thing's happening.
his internet just went off. So
Oh, did it? Okay.
And when
There
we
we
get
go.
So
part of the targeting too, they'll target your technology.
Doug is I'll give you a real quick rundown a little bit about Doug. Doug is one of the a top horse trainer and was used in he speaks 6 languages, and they used him overseas in operations because he was kind of like he could speak all these languages, and then now he's a very targeted individual as a result of his career. He was in Israel and Slovakia, and they did a lot of covert operations in these horse stables, and then they used the horses to launder money, to have meetings, to washboard people. He's witnessed all this stuff. He was part of all this. Yeah.
I remember you telling me about him like last week or the week before. Very interesting. Very interesting. These yeah, they use people with different talents.
Yeah, very athletic like yourself. He in the horse world, because he has some of the best methods of horse training, and so now they make it really hard for him to get jobs, and they're attacking his family, and I mean it's just exactly what you're describing, Tommy.
And
I mean, to the T.
The whole thing's set up in a way that it's supposed to make it look like you're crazy to other people, and to make you question your own sanity at the same time. And in doing so, it completely undermines your credibility and your ability to thrive or make money or anything. Hey, Doug, how you doing?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, did you say you were part of the music industry?
I was. Yes, sir. I was. And still am.
Okay, so in Spain, what's that?
I still am in some sense.
So I was the tip of the needle, like above. My boss got his marching orders from the Federal Reserve, Operation Pegasus, Herb. He's the one that is Pegasus. Herb in Mossad, his name Hein. He was the handler for Uri Geller, huh?
I said I had Pegasus on my phone. The spyware.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
so
Uri Geller. Yeah, I know. Uri.
So okay, so what would happen is they'd get like a new dancer in there that couldn't sing, and they would have another person that was the musician singer. They would surround the singer and get them to sing their heart out and promise them everything, keep them penniless, and then they would take the new dancer they turned into a singer, the superstar, have her lip sync this music and keep her down and penniless. She was the one they'd give a code word to, and her knees would go by her ears, you could say.
Sure.
Does that sound familiar to you? Because I saw that a lot. The CIA does that a lot to people.
Well, I mean, I know that. Yeah, they run the whole entertainment industry for the most part. I mean, like country music, rap, which we've seen with Sean Combs recently, and like
well, behind them too is a lot of our military intelligence too, because as I was traveling the planet and stuff, they'd be like, "Hey, Doug, there's a couple movie stars you'd really like,"
Oh yeah.
And I would have my, it was pretty normal for me to date like the royal family of Netherlands or, something like that. But once they put the screws to you, they can destroy you.
Oh, yeah.
And they're pretty clever with it. They're blatant.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And the programming is, I mean, it's intense. That's why all these celebrities have handlers as a way to direct them and deal with keep them in check.
I blew out of my programming when I was in Slovakia during the Georgian War and found out what I was in the middle of wasn't top secret from the KGB. They knew all about it. The Chinese spies were telling me about it. Doug, they're just at home making the money. They're going to be the prison guards hanging out with Bill Gates, and while they're putting you in your FEMA camps and doing these horrible things. And if they're going to do it to you, who's one in a million kind of human being, I mean, if you got into my mentions, you'd see it's some pretty beautiful stuff. And they're like, if they're going to do it to you, what are they going to do to us? That was what the KGB told me, and I was heartbroken. Here I'm fighting the war on terror and going across Europe and having the KGB chase me, and trains being blown up and all this stuff, and I'm just like always a step ahead, And then to find out from I got in the place, the third down from Putin's. From the Kremlin, Putin's owns a giant ranch in Slovakia that was an Olympic reining horse ranch because everyone wants to have their Olympic teams, right? So he was going to be the sponsor of the Slovakian Olympic team. So I'm with them, and they're like, Doug, you're 1 in 100, 200 million, 1 in a billion kind of human being. And if they do this to you, what are they going to do to us? And it broke my heart. And I came home like, oh, shit. They're going to bring armies in. They're going to release diseases. They're going to use healthcare to kill us. They're going to divide our country. They're going to take everyone's weapons. They're going to spray the skies with Rohypnol. You're going to wake up in a concentration camp. Well, it didn't go real good for me because that was before everyone got COVID and the elections were rigged. And what you see now with the armies coming in from the southern border, I got all that intel from CIA, George Soros people, the royal family of Netherlands, and Andrea Papani's best friends.
Wow.
These guys is buddy. I mean, we got an element of our military that flat sold us out.
Oh yeah.
Surprise.
The new
the
world
commander, not the general military, huh?
New World Order.
I'm telling you, I'm moving to Russia. Who's coming with me?
Well, yeah, the New World Order is the dancing on our nose is what the Nazis called it. It was Clinton Anderson, the Australian that couldn't ride, coming out with the world's greatest program, and then Andrea Papani, then all the Brazilians taking over the rodeos, the Mexican rodeos. Why the symbolism was the American Christian cowboy. That's why they took over the Mustangs and the Mustang Challenge. You saw that crap with the BLM and everything. The Lavoie Finicum scandal, all of that was to destroy the American cowboy and the Christians. And what they could do to me in front of everybody, they were able to do my country. And damn it, they've been winning. They've been winning. Sorry.
No, I'm
still there. Was able to follow that.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by your story. It's Susie was telling me a little
What's
bit about
that?
Susie was telling me a little bit about you last week, and I found it fascinating. Like I haven't traveled internationally in the same way. Like when I was recruited by the Naval Academy, and they wanted me to be naval intelligence, and I ended up going to the more football oriented route instead. And then I kind of like came out of my programming after some psychedelics in college, and started remembering things and having more awareness of like the MyLab abductions and different things. I was in the Stargate program as a kid, and then rolled into other programs after that, Super Soldier, like Project Superman kind of stuff.
Yep. So you understand what I mean. The men, they hypnotized me to open my third eye, my psychic ability. They found out I had premonitions in my hypnosis thing. They regressed me, and it came out crossed like a alien abduction thing or visit or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I dotted every I, crossed every T, cleared their screens. The next thing you know, I'm in Israel. But I didn't go into it when I was young. So there were things I had a big moral dilemma with. I have a moral dilemma with my country falling, my countrymen, the descendants from the World War II that's being thrown on the streets or killed and overran and replaced, and diseases being released, and people turn loose on people like a plague, as groups to rob, rape, pillage. I never agreed to what their plan was, so to speak. Once I found out how dark and ugly it was, I came home jumping up and down, screaming my loudest, thinking that, our military is going to step in. The QOP is real. They're going to step in. They're going to get these guys. I got the proof. I got the goods on them. And I was the one framed by Obama,
Yeah, I understand. they have their own agenda, and they don't want it to deviate from the plan that they have going on. And anybody that disrupts that, is becomes a target. And I understand how your knowledge and experience and that level of like direct geopolitical insight into what's going on behind the scenes isn't necessarily convenient for those who are wanting it to go on that way they can divide up the chunks that they have and rule over their own regions as kind of like warlords essentially. I was invested in as part of the military industrial complex's distraction wing as a football player, as a way to keep people distracted and consumed and divided in the same way because of the team affiliations and fandom, but also to legitimize and normalize the violence that is required to take over, and basically have a coup of our country, and without there actually being, bloodshed in a way that we would typically understand a coup that we see in like throughout history in foreign countries. It was, we had a coup on 9/11. There was a coup in 1963, or elements of the same thing, where people, within the military complex, specifically the intelligence apparatus, sold us out. They brought a guy in to my work this past week who's one of Ollie North's guys. Hired him as an interpreter, and the guy's been just trying to gain rapport with me all week, and also just it's weird. He claims to be a pastor, but he cusses more than anybody I've ever known. Throws away tons of stuff that people in his congregation could use, that was in the building that he could have had to give them, and just it doesn't fit,
Well, that's where I saw the most MK Ultra was through the pastors and the churches. Hallelujah, Jesus. At 9/11, the Homeland Security took over the churches and gave them a bunch of marching orders too. And all they did was these people are evil. They just got pastors that would be like anything for the money and the physical pleasure of the flesh versus anything to do with anything godly or biblical. That's the horses that you sold. Their whole family's a bunch of pastors, Parkers. There's like 3 or 4 pastors in their family, and
You're talking about my horses. I sold some horses to the Parker family. Yeah.
And did you see that one that got choked out? What?
Yeah. The abuse that horse suffered. Yeah.
It's awful. I dated. I had a handler that was in the horse world, like saddlebred, like showing horses, and I had a handler who was a fiance who was in the horse world, and she made her daughter into a world champion Shatner class saddlebred rider by the age of 11.
Yeah.
William Shatner and big money in them type horses. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they.
Yeah. So I can train those too.
Yeah.
I can train Susie. I can train a mean saddle seat horse. I trained national champion saddle seat park horses when I was 16 years old. That crazy?
That's why they used you in all these different, places, because you could fit in anywhere, Doug.
And so many of the royal families own horses. Sheikh Mohammed is a horseman. Did you know the Queen of Dubai, Princess Haya from Jordan, is a big, you Google her in the United Nations, and her an equestrian. Or Bill Gates, his son-in-law, is an Olympic rider in Egypt. So while we're all going through this stuff, they're all going to those horse shows, hanging out, rubbing elbows. It's their club, not anyone else's. And, looking for people they can feed on. I mean, it's ugly. But
Yeah.
the big horse shows are rigged now. There's no fair play.
Oh yeah. I mean, I found that to be true about the ones that she was involved in. It was who spent the most money and who just bought the most ads and floated the most sponsorships and stuff. Um,
So one of the guys you'll know then is Don Deerdorf that I grew up with. He's one of the legends in the saddlebred world. So
name
even just from your girlfriend's experience, you can check that name and you'll say, that's one of the best in the world at that sport. That's another one of the world champions I grew up with. I grew up at the age of 5 in horse stables, but I did was Mentz and, at one time I was a pretty smart guy before they beat me down and made me so physically sick.
I understand that, man. I was, all American athlete in one sport and professional athlete in a different one, and it's amazing how they. I mean, it's truly sick, demented, um, dark
It's
psychology.
the list.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt.
The blacklist. These are the Americans that are they're going to, like I was told, 9/11, the Nazi connection, Andy Schneider. They were going to destroy the descendants from World War III or World War II while their grandparents were alive to watch the Nazis from World War II. And so what they're doing is those that play the game and are wicked and evil and will do horrible stuff and just shut their mouth about the abuse, they get to join the club, just like a secret society, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you're gonna go and defend that woman from 3 guys and go and not let that pervert go chase some 14-year-old girl down in the back of the barn, they don't want you in the way. They don't want you telling them that they're surrounding, oh, they found this guy's got a lot of money, so let's surround him and his wife as a group and steal, rob, rape, pillage, rob them blind. In Walla Walla, I'm switching subjects, but I'm not. A guy that owned the internet, the local internet provider, he had a room they could check out what porn that 15, 16-year-olds were watching, everything about him. They knew everything about that girl. It was just like wicked, and that was some of the church leaders in that town, Waitsburg, Washington. Last known stomping ground, last known open parade of the KKK, where I trained and was associated with the 5-man hit team from Schwarzkopf. They're the ones that were running the horses and trading them for the fentanyl that overdosed my student. I saw the delivery. So not like the stuff I'm saying isn't hearing it, isn't reading it. It's just my personal experience.
Yeah. Do you remember Chris
Did I say
Antley?
too much?
No. Do you remember Chris Antley?
What's that?
Do you remember
Who?
Chris Antley? He was a jockey.
No.
Okay.
No.
He had a horse named Charismatic. I almost won the Triple Crown.
A Triple Crown horse, a thoroughbred.
Yeah, and he won the first 2 races. In the 3rd race, he jumped off shy of the tape and grabbed the horse's leg, acting as though the horse had broken his leg. And then he ended up getting murdered. I think like 2 months later. But his mom dated my friend, and it was during that year of his run, and it really kind of threw us for a loop. And we kind of that was my first intro into the horse world, other than going to Churchill Downs when I was a kid, and betting on some races. But it was just brutal. It was organized crime. I think they were betting on him to win the thing, and then he jumps off and doesn't. And there's that long shot. Those long shot bets came around to get him. I know that there's just the sports world in general is extremely corrupt. It's it's a form of human trafficking, and as is the entertainment, like you're talking about, keeping the singer dirt poor and strung out or whatever they had to keep them moving. And like I understand like Monarch programming. I've been part of that is starting as a kid. How that folks, the highest echelon of entertainers and athletes and stuff, and talent like yourself, we get put into positions of as assets. Sometimes knowingly, sometimes like Julia Childs and Chuck Woolery, and those are just two small examples. But like the country music industry specifically is used to traffic drugs and women and all kinds of stuff, and sell patriotic propaganda. I was in that world for a while, and it's crazy. But
like Palma de Mallorca, Spain, they would have the world's largest drug bust in Chile, and then all of a sudden they're selling coke out of the disco, really good coke, I guess. I don't know exactly, but supposedly, and they were taking like Muhammad, one of the terrorists. They'd come with a freezer full of coke, drop it off, sell it, and put Muhammad in the freezer, taken by UPS anywhere on the planet. Sound familiar? Sorry.
I mean,
that was rendition. What you saw is CIA rendition.
Okay.
Waterboarding. You just heard about waterboarding.
Oh yeah, it's the enhanced interrogation. Yeah.
Yep, that's the one.
Torture. Yeah. The one that we paid some psychologists a couple $1 million to come up with the methods of enhanced interrogation, and to spin the wording of it in such a way that it's not torture because it's this. Yeah, I know that's something that's probably used far worse tactics to extract information, and then you got to make that person go away because you've made an enemy for life.
Well, one of the guys that got released from there by Obama and given like $100 million is Dean Al-Jadawi, that owns Mount Hood Center, Boring, Oregon. So, like I said, he's Jordanian, goes straight to Princess Halia. Did any of you check on Princess Halia in United Nations? Because that's a pretty big deal. But meaning he runs the horse industry in pretty much in the Northwest. When he says, I can't work, everyone said I couldn't work. And he's a Jordanian inside the U.S. telling us what to do. And our military does what he tells them, which is kind of weird.
It's the world aristocracy. I guess it's gotten to the point now where it's just we're moving back towards open air slavery.
Yes,
where we had come to a point of civilization. Now it's mostly done human trafficking in open air, but also via the dark web, and the selling and trading of targeted individuals is one aspect of it, along with the neurology and the data that they can mine off of us and through terrorizing us. And it's also it's like a video game that people play, and it's like Pokemon Go, but we're the Pokemon, and that is disturbing to us and creates fight or flight terror and all kinds of things to where you become aware of these things without them letting you, without actually telling you, and then they ramp up the violence sometimes depending on who it is, and we see how people getting beat up and fights and shit. All kinds of violence has become more and more popular through streaming and social media, and it's allowed. It's moving us towards a totalitarian state to where violence is the norm, and we prey on each other. I mean, that's the whole build up of like wedge politics to separate, divide, and conquer, and then pit us against each other, like Running Man.
Yeah.
Hunger Games.
That's what German intel told me. They were going to divide America, break it into smaller pieces because America was too big to make war straight away with. And then the other people, the descendants from World War II vets or the patriots of our country, get on a list. And with me, I got on the list for the MK Ultra. They thought they were going to freak me out and hurt me until I'd use my inventions I invented for the special forces against my own country. So the false flag they thought they were going to get was you take the power lines out, you do a floating fire starter, floats across the sky, dripping napalm, and you got the spark. I came up with an idea for the spark. It's all watch batteries, wireless receiver, electronic ignition. You put it in gas tanks. They drive by, hit the remote control, the cars go boom. So now the town's on fire. It's got no power. Cars are going boom everywhere. And then the other thing was invisibility sniper's vest, which is those 3D cards. You see two different images from one side and the other. One is a web screen from of the sky to the ground. The other is from the side to the other side. So you can't they can't see you with a cooling system inside. So they can't even find you with infrareds lined up on the one way in and out of town you got left under this hill. So all the first responders are coming through, and you take them out with the net with the sniper's vest. Did I lose him?
I think his internet popped off. He'll be back.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. This happens sometimes. We have these little technical difficulties.
Right.
But
You know.
I think.
Am I
you know
making
what?
sense? Because I know it's so out there.
Yes. Yes. And you
You're
know
quite
what?
a little Einstein. You know what I was thinking about when you guys were both talking? I was thinking it's amazing how they know how to target people who are very athletic and very spiritually gifted. A combination of those type of people are their biggest assets, right?
Um, yeah. Now, Doug, one of the viewers has a question. Do you have any insight of what's going to happen this fall?
Well, they were going to release bird flu, right? So at the ranch in Palma, there were dead birds everywhere, and it was pretty. My stuff was biological, so MRSA staph infection, Al-Qaeda days are pregnant. The worldwide release of MRSA, while everyone was being told and brainwashed, they had Morgellons, some were crazy, and they would surround those people, steal everything, and kill them. So I came up with a biological protection kit that you could go to through an airport and go to a vending machine and get the mask and the gloves and the gel and the spray, yada yada. And so I come home and I try to patent this, and it gets supposedly the guy helped me patent it. It got stolen from the mail or whatever, and didn't get it. So I went on at the time I did the online intel op and hunt for Osama bin Laden on above top secret, which they've removed everything now. But I had quite an audience, especially in the intelligence community. I mean, the military knew I was telling the truth. And so I said, oh, bird flu is a false flag, and it quit. So as far as this fall, I could see them releasing bird flu. These people want death. They want death. I could see a lot of false flags. I could see the leave the world behind. Oh yeah, I could see them doing that stuff. That's exactly, we're right on track for it. There's already ships crashing into bridges, airplanes falling from the sky, and I could see them doing that. Using my CIA idea was using Rohypnol and the chemtrails to knock out drug lords, go into a fake alien invasion, and it's a little deeper. I would give the main boss and his main guy more of the gas or the sleeping drugs, so they were out about 15 minutes longer than everyone else. Give them Viagra, take their clothes off, super glue them from front to back together with their mouths super glued shut, so that when they're sitting there with full on, or all their guys go running to boss, what happened? And him and his biggest henchmen are sitting there front to back, arms super glued around each other with giant erections. The more they fight to get away, the more it looks like they're just Obama. My stuff was absolutely righteous. That intel op was developed by Doug Phipps, by the way.
Wow.
One of many.
Wow.
Yeah, cool shit, huh?
All I can say
but
is I think
they'll spray us with Rohypnol too.
yeah, I think that everybody needs to go to their own countries. We need to not have people governing us because we are adult enough to govern ourselves. And people need to work on their countries and fix their shit. Everybody. We need to fix ours. Africa needs to fix theirs. Russia needs to fix theirs. Everybody needs to fix their own shit. This
Yeah,
is
Everyone
ridiculous.
needs to take the plank out of their own eyes.
Yes, we are human beings. And you know what? We're put on this earth by our creator up above for a reason. You know, we're not guinea pigs. We're not, you know, what
But
is
these people are
crap?
demonic.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like demon possessed. I've seen full on demonic possessions from these people. We lost
Yeah.
him again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be back.
I agree, Doug. I agree. It's a spiritual, physical and a spiritual battle that we're fighting here.
Yeah.
You know,
It's ridiculous. They treat us like we're freaking cattle out there on a string. And, you know, originally it was supposed to come out that they work for us, and that somewhere down the line people just slipped shit and said, oh, them stupid government, and let it go. Nobody did anything about it, so they took that shit and ran with it. And you know, it's ridiculous that we have to be treated this way when we have done nothing but work for them, made them rich, and we're nothing. What are they going to do
and
when
they're
we're all
slaves.
gone? What are they going to do when we're all gone? Are they going to go and pick their own fruit? And what are they going to do?
No, they're setting up their fiefdoms, is what the big Democrats told me. So they're gonna live in the castles with all the money, the best of everything, and everyone else is either gonna be their slave, they're gonna use them for sex, or they can just die.
Do you
I mean, point blank.
Do you think we're going to end up having an election this year?
You know, part of me really wants Trump to be good, but part of me is enough of a realist to know I've been played so much. Am I being played again?
Well, no, I mean, are we going to actually have one? Is there going to, my opinion,
Is it going to be a military situation, or are we going to have an election? What do you think, Doug?
I'm at a quandary with it. You know, I know, because if he's going to win and do what he says, there's no way they're going to let him in. There's no way they're going to have an election. The only way they're going to allow an election to move forward is if they think they got Trump under their thumb. Right?
Well, I'm here to tell you that I don't think that is a man right there that nobody tells him what to do. That's what started all this bullshit to begin with, because he wasn't one of them. You know, he played the game.
They fight him so hard. Yeah, they do.
There's
a reason they fight him so hard.
Yeah. They don't want him in there because they know that he's going to have something to say, and he's going to. I look at it like this. We all know that a lot of these politicians, we all know that a lot of these politicians, they can't stand America. They don't like America.
Right.
All of them. But Trump,
they don't like us.
Well, they don't like us. They don't like America. They don't like anything. I don't even think that they really like themselves, honestly. But Trump and his family, they love this country. They love this country. This country is self-sufficient. And if it works together, there is no problem. But that's the problem right there. We are dealing with people that can't stand this country, that can't stand us, and they think that they're above everybody else. Well, I'm here to tell them right now, I don't give a shit who you are. You put your damn pants on the same way I do. Well, maybe not the same because I'm missing a leg, so I have one that hangs. But still, it all goes on the same damn way. So they're not any better than the rest of us. I would like to take Joe Biden and make him an offer. I would make that man the biggest offer ever. If he could take my $900 a month that I make, because that's all I get because, well, I was screwed. And he could live off of that and pay his rent, pay his electric, buy his groceries. By God, I might vote for his ass. But he can't have no help. He can't have no other money. $900 a month for the next 6 months. See how far he gets. He cannot live in his
slavery.
He can't live in his home that he owns.
Torture and slavery. Yes.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Now
We're
imagine
treated
this.
horribly.
Yeah.
At work,
Okay, I'm done.
I work
Good
with
to
a
see you back there, Tommy.
Sorry, my phone just keeps dying. It's plugged in. It's plugged in. It's charging and it dies. I don't. It's just interference.
Could
But
be a target.
no, right. I did Rob's show 2
They
weeks ago.
they don't want us comparing notes.
Exactly. There's a young man I work with that I've got to know a little bit. He's 21 years old from Venezuela. He walked through the jungle to get here, and got married about 8 months ago, right after he moved here, and really nice kid. He said in Venezuela the minimum wage is $5 a month.
Oh God.
And these guys are just smart, industrious, happy, family oriented, guys. They're just they share an apartment. I mean, several of them. I know it's not always the case, but it's pretty hard to imagine trying to live off $5. I mean, I after the brain injury I had from a tetanus shot in 2018, which pretty sure had some extra punch in it. And not being able to work like any ongoing, consecutive, consistent stuff for a few years. Not having really any income, a little bit of assistance eventually, but that it's and homelessness several times as an adult. That it's hard to imagine just $5. I mean, you can't buy a hamburger meal for less than like 10 now. 15.
All they can do is try to, make a little flour tortillas and try to survive. No money.
Let's not
Well,
talk
it's
about
forced
them.
communism. What we're seeing is forced communism. The ones I'm talking about, the deep state ones, they only care about how much money someone's got. The more money, the more they love them. No money, they're just worthless. They got nothing.
The donation.
It's just ugly. It's all judged on how much money you got, and then they make sure you got no money.
Yeah.
Oh
right.
yeah. And then we're gonna end up paying high dollar for freaking meat they're making in a lab with a damn thing that you would make toys with.
Well,
Okay.
there's more industrialized, meat processors that
Yeah.
in the United States in that regard. And remember, Klaus Schwab said we're all going to be eating, insects.
Yeah. Well, I would
Well,
like.
bugs are a real thing.
We are. Cricket flour.
I've got something I'd like to feed him. Oh,
Yeah. And we're seeing the backlash of 500 years of Western colonization and dominance, and then with the United States, with the atom bomb, that was Rome's roads and England's ships. So yeah, it's and on top of it, you put religion, and they control the minds of the kings. They control the masses of each nation. And like what you were saying, Doug, about the churches, especially the denominations where there's a national political hierarchy and of governance. They're all infiltrated. I mean, I've had people attempt to recruit me into the Christian music community, the Christian music industry, more than once, and it's always weird, twisted shit that's going on with the people that are trying to get you in it.
Wow.
When I was working in Nashville, there's the same woman kept showing up at work, and where I was working the door, and she's like, "What are you doing still? What are you still doing here? Why aren't you on stage?" And her husband was a prominent Christian music artist, and she was a massage therapist. They were trying to get me to come out to their farm / commune kind of deal.
Can I pause you a second?
Sure.
So the massage therapist, a lot of those girls are just MK Ultra, used as sex slaves.
Honeypots, yeah.
If you know, or they're swingers. A lot of those people I found are like Justo's family. They're just a bunch of swingers. There's they're constantly trying to get these 19, 20, 18, 17, 16, if they can, little girls for group sex. Pretty
Yeah.
weird.
So
Yeah,
they send in all these handlers to target you, yeah, and handle you.
yeah. And what and maybe get you in some um, compromising position with a honeypot or something.
Right. And so I never took the honeypot. That's why I got framed by Obama and the Secret Service. They sent 16, 17-year-old little co-trainers scantily clad to sleep with me. And I'm like, girl, go get your clothes on. I'm a Christian. Hell to the no. My name is Doug. You know, of course, when I first got into it, they had to think I would, or they wouldn't have let me in. But I never did nothing wrong. They had no blackmail on me. They had to
Yeah.
resort to greater measures because most of those
Now,
people in the
Doug, that's
club,
a
they've
really
got
good point.
sexual blackmail on them.
Here's a good point. Say somebody like you that is very aware versus somebody who is getting sabotaged and unaware of what's happening to them, then with you, they have to send higher up people to try to handle you. Is that right?
Yeah, they said actually I was put in jail by Obama's Secret Service as he left office and Trump was coming in to get rid of me before, Trump took office, and then got out of jail by the Audrey Osborne. I don't know if you've seen her letter that Doug's stuff sounds out there, but it's true. Their boss was the head investigator for the Department of Treasury. So yeah, that's pretty high level.
Yeah, I'd say.
I got an official Barack Obama indictment. I guess that's pretty high level.
Yeah, I've seen that document, Doug. That's pretty freaky.
Real. Yeah, it's real.
Wow. Yeah, I was watch listed.
Yep. And with that, it's because I caught them orchestrating the shootings, doing the MK Ultra after they killed my dad. I'm like, F you, I'm Doug. I'm gonna kick your ass. Operation Cow Patty, I call it. Remember, Yippee Cow Patty. We rode out to kill the men that killed her daddy because I was nothing but their little bitch. In the Black Ops bar, I don't know if I told you that, where a girl came full demonic possession. This is NASA scientists, Navy SEALs, I mean, full on military sheriffs, bank robbers, the whole deal. And they send this girl in to talk to me and give me a message from Special Warfare Navy, the base that got shot up. That's another part of this, the shootings.
Oh yeah, school shootings too.
Anyways, and she said, if you want money, you're going to have to do bad things to good people. And I said, my name's Doug. I defend everything lives, breathes, and crawls across the land. I ride horses for God and Jesus. I'm going to defend everything. I'm not going to do nothing bad. And her face twisted and she turned into something like from The Exorcist. Her veins started popping out, saying, F you. There's no God. There's nothing but us and our money. You're nothing but our little bitch. And I looked at her and said, in Jesus' name, what does that make you? Blew it back out at her, and my smart ass mouth. And they drug her out of the bar like something from The Exorcist. I mean, straight up and right then the jukebox stopped right then, and the whole bar is turning and looking at her. And they drug her out like foam coming out. I mean, it was demonic possession. She was an Italian girl. Her brother was Navy Sailor of the Year and had a special message for me from was the Special Warfare Base in Virginia where they had that shooting and they shot the Cyber Ops Division all up.
Um, Fort Meade, Maryland. There was a shooting.
In
The neighborhood.
Virginia?
Trying to think of
Virginia.
We're in Virginia. I'm probably
The other Special Warfare Base, not
Eastern.
San Diego, the other one.
Oh, Quantico.
I don't know. There's another big Special Warfare Navy base.
Okay. Yeah.
It was.
That's in Virginia Beach.
See, now what you're saying, Doug, that kind of reminds me a little bit of the Michael Aquino deal, because he was into
What?
the demon, the control through the demonic stuff, and Tommy has knowledge of all of that with Aquino, don't you, Tommy?
Yeah, the church is set. Yeah, he was one of my programmers as a child. And torturers.
Oh man. So see and I think that what they're doing with the churches now is Aquino stuff. Oh, we're from God. We're from Jesus. Hallelujah. We're saved by grace. We're here to rescue you, as they surround you and just tell you anything and just steal everything you got, because they're a bunch of pagans and swingers and group sex and all this weird shit. It's all about them and their money, and once they're done with people, they just throw them away
Yeah,
or destroy
Boy,
them.
Doug, you
They
got
run
that
them out of
right.
the
I
industry.
mean,
yeah,
well, that's exactly what's happening right now with all these big mega churches right now, with all the homosexuality and all this, and then recruiting everybody and forcing them into these situations. And I mean, you just nailed it.
Jerry Falwell Jr. at Liberty and his wife. Yeah, they were swingers, and all that came out. Um, and he had to step down as the president of the university there, and yeah, I mean, Virginia's had a lot of, we had Pat Robinson. He's at Virginia Beach, Hampton area, and we had the Finders.
Wow.
And
Well, guys,
Monroe Institute, all that,
yeah.
good, the farm.
We've got about 4 minutes left. So, Doug, can you tell people where they can find you? Email, a Cash App to help you? Anything?
Doug Phipps at gmail.com. My name, DougPhipps at gmail.com, or Doug Phipps Facebook, or Phipps Douglas Facebook. And Twitter, I think it's Doug Phipps 07 or something.
Okay. And Tommy, I made you something.
Yeah.
I made you this in big letters. So if anybody anybody wants to help Tommy out, because he's getting stuff done and trying to get his house ready so that his son can come and visit, and he's been working really hard and he's had a lot of things going on. So there is his Cash App, Dr. Gonzo Bing Bong, exactly the way it's put up there, with the large D and the large G. Everything else is lower caps.
Bing bong.
And I made that for you. Are you
Yeah.
proud of me?
Yeah.
I need to talk to him more over the Aquino stuff, because that would be really good for the horse people to understand. A lot of their cowboy churches have been taken over by a really evil mentality.
Devil in the pulpit.
Well, I am
We're going to definitely be bringing you back in, Doug. And
Yes. Yes.
Part 2 of this. Yeah.
And everybody out there, Susie and I, you will find us here Friday and Saturday nights, 9 o'clock Central Time, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. We, of course, run our 2-hour show. And Doug, we thank you for coming on last minute. I mean, that was saving grace. Tommy, thank you for
you guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't get together earlier.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. I didn't expect.
Susie's got great horses, everyone.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does.
No, they're great horses.
I know.
You're a great trainer, Doug. Anybody needs an awesome trainer, any good person out there. We don't want to call any bad people, but any good person need a good trainer. Call Doug.
I want to do clinics. If I teach, they'll see for themselves. They'll be like, well, boy,
Right.
Pat Pirelli sure showed me a watered down version of that.
Well, see, everybody, that's how you do it. You go to Susie and buy a horse, and then you go to Doug to have it trained, and it all works out.
And to teach you how to ride that horse. Yeah.
Yes.
Become the horse.
And if you're looking to buy a nice property in Texas, Susie has one for sale.
There you go. We'll set you up with the horse and the land.
That's right. You'll look at that.
And if they can afford it, the trainer too.
There you go.
There you go. There you go. This has been a great show, everybody. I thank everybody for being here. Brian Singh was unable to join us tonight because he's traveling, trying to put stuff together. After this conference, the disclosurenow.org is where you find it. And after this conference in Florida, We're going to be hitting booking hard. And I've already spoke with him and a few other people. Tommy's got some people to come on also. So we're looking forward to having some good shows. Everybody, please like, share, and subscribe. Help our little family grow. And like always, because we are out of time, be kind to one another. Thank you all for being here.
Thank
Goodbye for now from Beyond the Box. Inside, outside, upside, downside, beyond the box. Please join us again for Beyond the Box, Friday and Saturday evenings from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern. Join us for more intel bombs with our extraordinary guests.
Break it down.
Good night, Putin. Good night, Tucker Carlson. Inside, outside, upside, downside, beyond the box.